listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Cosmos After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Cosmos After Show.
Yes, there it is.
This was the song that you picked.
Yeah, that's it. Oh man, I'm sad.
Woo.
JC's not here to.
JC is not here to experience this tonight. Wow, but we're here.
Yeah.
So that's something. And who are we? Who are we? Well, I'm Scott Moore, and over here on the other side of the table.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dillon Chance.
And I am Autumn Chiklis.
That's right, JC couldn't be here tonight, but we're going to try to carry on without him, and he will be missed. It is time for episode 8 already of the first season of Cosmos. Can you believe it? Episode 8.
Oh, look,
Wow.
look, there's the robot. Yes.
That's fantastic.
This is awesome. All right.
This brings me back. This brings me back.
To the good old days.
That's right, to the good old days, and that's right. And we're here for episode 8, Sisters of the Sun.
Yes, Sisters of the Sun.
I love that title.
Yeah.
Sounds like
An album.
either an album, yeah,
Or-
a band,
Yeah.
or
They were live at Coachella a couple weekends ago.
yeah, the Sisters of the Sun. That's right, rocking out in the desert, or even like a crazy sect or some kind of like
Cult.
cult or something.
Yeah, like some weird dark
Yes,
cult.
they're gonna be
Masons
Sisters of the Sun.
All
Join
right.
that cult based on this episode.
Right, and quite an interesting episode. What did you guys think? We kind of went back more into space again this episode, which I guess back to its
I'm
roots.
happy. I like
I'm
that.
happy
I always
about
love
it.
it when they go into space.
Make me feel insignificant. Love it.
Right, me too. It makes me feel very tiny and worthless.
Yeah,
Great.
I've been holding on to Intergalactic until they went back into space. I was like, I want to play that song.
Been waiting to play it, and now
All right.
your dream became a reality. But yeah, it was good. I know nothing better than feeling worthless and feeling like a star could explode anytime in life as we know it.
Completely wipe us out. Disintegrate our atmosphere, the works. That being said, I am so psyched and really hoping for a hypernova.
Oh yeah.
We'll get to that.
We'll
towards
get to the
end,
hypernova.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Tease.
Hypernova, good tease. Yes, we'll get to the payoff later. Also, hypernova, I think is gonna be my new word.
Yeah.
You know, when
Hypernova.
crap's going to the fan, I'm gonna be like, oh, it's a hypernova.
Yeah.
This is hypernova.
Yeah, this is going hypernova, bitches.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, where should we start? At the very beginning here, we were talking about people used to look up and see the stars
Light
back in
pollution.
ancient time. Definitely light pollution, and I will tell you though, a great place that you can go without having to go all the way to Australia in the southern hemisphere is right over in Sedona.
Oh,
You guys
yeah?
ever been to Sedona?
Yes.
I haven't.
It is absolutely beautiful at night.
It is.
Well, it's beautiful in general.
It is, but the cool thing is that they have light pollution laws, so there is no like billboards, there's no crazy, lights for signs or anything else, and then because it's up at like 4,600 feet, you get an awesome view of the stars. It's like I feel like I'm in a planetarium after coming from here in LA and going there and just seeing the stars on a clear night.
Yeah.
It's absolutely
It's
incredible.
pretty remarkable.
That's amazing, and I wish more places had laws like
Right.
that. There's not too. I mean, like you could just turn off all the unnecessary lights, or these lights that just light up buildings for no reason in the middle of the night. But there's also
Seriously.
these type of street lights to where it makes sure all the light shines down
Right.
and not up. And there's so many ways they could combat light pollution, which would be amazing.
It
so
would
that
be.
It'd be incredible.
we can see stars from like big cities, because it sucks sometimes living in LA. You look up and you see like 2 stars.
I know, you don't
Uh-huh.
see any stars at all. And what's crazy about that is I think it was about, was it 10 years ago when we had the big brownout out here, 2003 or so? There were a lot of 911 calls in LA because people saw the stars and saw the Milky Way, and people were actually calling about it. They're like, what is the stuff in the sky?
my
That's
I mean, isn't that
funny.
sad?
It's
That's
depressing.
really
That like
sad.
the fact that there's so much light pollution that
People were freaking out over the Milky Way.
Yes, because nobody had ever really
Wow.
seen stars before, especially if you were born and raised in a big city, had
Right.
never seen stars like that before. So
Yeah,
it
it's
is.
conflicting to me because
It's
being
sad.
born and raised a city girl, I do love lights. Anyone who knows me, I love big city lights at night. But at the
Right.
same time, there is something very miraculous. So when you go to Sedona or someplace like that and you look up,
The only-
it's humbling,
Yeah.
like the
The
rest
only,
of this episode.
stars you see here are D-listers at Runyon
Yeah,
Canyon.
exactly.
Hey, I love Runyon
Me
Canyon.
too. Runyon and even Fryman.
Would we be considered the D-listers at Runyon Canyon?
I'm like the F-lister, or whatever the lower star rating here. I don't know what the order of all those different stars. I mean, the O, the B, the A. We'll get into that too, but
That's its own kind of excitement.
I
but
guess I'm
different.
like an O star probably. If that's the lowest one. I don't even get rated. But
Oh, another good place is I saw the Milky Way for the first time in my life because
Yeah.
I couldn't really see it from where I grew up in Texas. Like, I don't know why. I could see stars, but I could never see the Milky Way. And I saw it, I think it was a year ago. I took a trip up to Eagle Lake in Northern California.
Yeah.
That's about 12 hours away. And there, man, it was a campground, like no lights for miles and miles and
Gorgeous,
miles,
right?
and higher elevation up by a lake. And I just, every night, just stared straight up at the stars and just,
Yeah.
it was amazing.
it is amazing, and that basically goes back to where the episode began. It was basically talking about how these ancient, civilizations basically explained stories on how the stars got to be and how we got to be through these great tales about they used to draw the symbols, and then that's where we got like
Yeah,
the Little Dipper,
constellations
the
and-
constellations, all that stuff. Because obviously nobody's watching TV or the radio or anything back then. That was their form of entertainment. But it was a really cool way of like the way they explained how they came to be through these stories through looking up at the stars.
Yeah, they we talked about this in an earlier episode,
Yeah.
the pattern recognition. And,
Exactly.
And I like it was cool. It was like everywhere on Earth, every civilization
Yeah.
looked to the stars and made their own patterns.
Right.
Made their
which is
own
great.
patterns. Exactly, because depending on where you are on the Earth too, you're going to see patterns a little bit differently
Right.
too.
And what's so interesting is how similar some of the stories ended
Yeah.
up being.
Yeah, it's
I mean, we talked
fascinating.
about the Seven Maidens that
The
ended
Seven
up.
Maidens.
What is
Yeah,
that, Pleiades?
the-
Is that what they said? Pleiades?
Pleiades? Yeah, it's Pleiades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pleiades of how you had one in Greece, and where was the other?
It was
location?
the North America
Yeah, it was-
because
yeah.
they were Native Americans.
And you had the
Americans were
Seven
telling it.
Maidens and how they were turned into the stars. So it's
Yeah.
interesting how similar even
It was like,
across.
what was it, like 7
across the
years?
world,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, it's fascinating about that, and it is cool because you do tend to look at the stars, as the year progresses and everything. They do tell you, so it was a way for people to plan, to know when to plant things,
Mm-hmm.
when things were going to be in trouble, like was all when the winter was coming. A nice Game of Thrones.
Winter was coming.
Where-
Winter
where-
is coming.
But like that was the way you would tell how things were going along, is by where the stars were in the sky, was how they could plan for the year accordingly. So it is pretty cool, and I loved that we went back to those stories, and then of course I absolutely loved the fact that we talked about some female astronomers today. It was nice to have some
yes.
women power.
Representing. I was
Right?
very pleased about that. And with some kick-ass names,
I think the
too.
best names ever. I think
Yeah, it
they're
was so cool.
Oh yeah, they had some pretty cool names.
Cecilia Payne, Annie Jump Cannon.
Annie Jump Cannon. I mean,
Annie
come
Jump
on.
Cannon.
Henrietta Swan Leavitt.
Swan Leavitt. Swan Leavitt.
You got to read their names as if they're
Henrietta
a
Swan.
Yes,
crazy
Dylan, you
reality
should,
discovery
I think
show.
you should read their names as if they're
Annie
going to
Jump
fight in the
Cannon.
gladiators.
Yeah, okay. Annie Jump Cannon, Henrietta Swan Leavitt, Cecilia Payne, tonight on Female Astronomers.
At Harvard, too.
Oh yeah, they were at Harvard. I like that they all worked for that guy. What was his name? Edward Charles Pickering.
Edward, yeah, it was so kind of odd the way they all like work together in like this back room, and
They call them the computers, and they're
The
just
computers.
like shoved in the back.
Or some people called him Pickering's harem.
harem.
Yeah.
and then how so many of them were deaf. I'm like, that was interesting too.
Did he just go around
Like,
looking for like deaf scientist women?
right?
Do
So-
you? You're not deaf? You can't
you
be
can't
here.
be-
Yeah,
Peter.
it was interesting, and how they had all the voices portray that, obviously. And
Yeah.
so for the first while, I was really confused as to why everyone there, and then I realized that most of them were deaf, which is pretty remarkable, actually.
Yeah.
Considering, just first of all, statistically, and second of all,
Right. First of all, statistically, and second of all, the fact that there were really no women scientists to begin
well, that's
with.
what I mean.
Yeah,
Statistically,
like,
there weren't many.
nothing, and then have several of
Them
being.
all being deaf,
Yeah.
which is very interesting.
Yeah, it was.
cool, though.
I'd love to learn more about that because I think that's really cool. And I actually learned because I've always heard about. I think is our star G star. I can't remember now, but all the ratings and everything. I had no idea how that came out being. So it was great to learn that.
Right.
I need to look more into that
Today.
because I didn't get enough from it from the episode.
Yeah.
I probably need to rewatch it or just go do some research on
Right,
it.
I just
They
need
kind
to
of
do
skimmed
research.
over it, but it was really cool how they went over a lot very quickly
did,
when
of
it
course.
comes to her discoveries and all their discoveries, because they were trying to get, obviously, to the main thesis.
Yeah.
Which is he said was considered maybe possibly the greatest thesis ever written, apparently.
From Cecilia Payne, yeah.
Wow.
I just thought it was great because I'd never known how they rated the stars, and I still don't really know what the difference between an O, a B, an A, and F, like where she got the letters from for any of that. But it was great to know that about the spectral characters, and basically what Cecilia Payne had discovered is that's really basically equals the temperature of the stars.
That was great.
So-
It was what they say. So Cannon, anti-jump cannon took decades to organize the stars into 7 different categories. Henrietta Swan Leavitt discovered how to measure the distance from stars to other stars. And then Cecilia Payne came along and she helped gather all that information, put it together, read it, because they were just making all these dots and squiggles and they had a system, but she brought it
all together.
And
it was the Harvard, what was it called? The Harvard
Sisterhood.
Spectral
Oh, I thought you meant the women.
No, the whatever that system was called, the Harvard Spectral Scheme or whatever that she invented. But yeah, I mean that was, and the other thing that was cool is that they were all like very supportive and collaborative of one another too. Like it's the way they brought it about. Like no, there was no competitiveness or backstabbing. So that's like when the reality show would come out. That's when,
right. And I was happy to hear that Russell ended up when originally Russell kind of pushed off and said it's absolutely impossible, but then 4 years later, as it normally takes 4 to how many ever years later, he finally came out with Insidious, and I was just waiting for him to go, and then he took credit for it.
I was just going to say that too. I was ready for him to take the credit for it, and I was surprised by that.
Just like try to hide it. I was always waiting for some kind of drama, but no, he was upfront about it. He was a stand-up guy, and it was nice to see.
Yeah, so that was Henry Norris Russell, and he was the, who was he? He was the main, he was the what? He was like the head scientist there.
Of astronomy.
And he didn't agree with her thesis. And that's when, like you said, it took 4 years, and then they realized, and they were like, the problem was that she doubted herself.
She did.
Because he was the head scientist, and she was like, how could I be right and he be wrong?
Exactly.
So she doubted herself. She wrote that line that discredited her thesis.
Exactly. It was sad.
But she should have stood her ground.
She should have, but I at the same time, I kind of understand where she's coming from, because you're going there, you're doing this work, and then now you're doubting yourself, because like, well, the main guy here obviously knows probably more than me, and I'm thinking if he says I'm wrong. So I can understand it, but it did, like he even said in the episode,
it takes a certain level of ego to, and I mean, it's a necessary ego, but it takes a certain level of ego to go, no, everyone here is wrong.
Right.
I'm the one who's right because of my data.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, it was, but it was tough. So luckily, it all worked out. We had the nice happy ending. She got the credit.
She did. It was nice
proven
to
right.
kind of have that.
Well, because I was worried they were just going to say she, lived the end of her life thinking she was
into
wrong.
Oblivion, and now we know.
Right, and thinking she was wrong. So that was nice to end all that really well. And I thought that was a good episode of learning about that as well. Moving on from stars, I don't know. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about the sisters there?
No, I was going to say, now we get to go back to space.
I know, now we're back out in outer space, which I was very excited about. We learned about, hypernovas, supernovas, all the different stars, all the white dwarfs and blue and red lights, and
That's
oh my god, so much
something the white dwarf.
So much
awesome.
stuff. And again, we kind of going back to, I would say, our roots again of what we had talked about in previous episodes, going back to like, oh, you're all made of stardust. We kind of went back to that, which I always think is really cool, because it does show how we're all connected with everything from the universe and space, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah,
it's good to remember that.
And truly is so humbling. I mean, watching any episode of Cosmos, really, you kind of have to be humbled, but especially for me anyway, personally, when we're talking about the universe, and you're talking about the stars, and you're talking about all the different things that are going on, it's very difficult to take yourself too seriously when watching something like that.
Seriously, right?
Especially, my God, especially with the special effects that they have on the show, though. It's pretty remarkable.
It really does, like, when you see all this stuff happening and you're learning about all of these like cosmic events, you like for a second go, wow, all these problems that I think I had are nothing.
I kind of love it, though.
And will be gone
compared to a hypernova.
Yeah. No, just coming back. I'm about to enter finals week right now in college, and I really kind of needed a nice dose of the universe in my face.
Yeah, who cares about those finals?
Because in a
my
billion
teachers
years,
are really good.
Yeah, exactly.
Cosmos when I fail out of all of my. I promise Mom and Dad I will not fail out of them because of Cosmos. I'm still gonna watch it, but
I decided I'm giving up because it doesn't
Yes,
matter
right.
anyways.
Because there's going
Exactly.
to be a hypernova in our lifetime,
Yes.
and so why bother?
Why bother with anything now?
I
Thanks,
liked it.
Cosmos.
I was really interested when they started going through all the different like sets of stars
Yeah.
and telling us how old they were. Like the stars
Right.
below Orion's belt, he said they're basically newborns because they're only 10 million years old.
Yeah, that was
That's really
cute.
cool
It was
because-
cute. Yeah, calling them the toddler ones that were still
Yeah.
kind of connected, and then they would grow apart and never
Right.
Yeah.
be near each other again.
It's fun because now, next time I go look up at
Yeah.
Orion, I'll be like, oh, look at those little stars.
Oh,
Those
those
little
baby stars.
Oh, they're so cute.
And then they what that
Precious.
Yeah.
the Pleiades stars were 100 million years
Mm-hmm.
old.
Crazy.
The Big Dipper,
Yeah.
those
Yep.
stars are 500 million years old.
Yes,
Man,
those
that's
are the
awesome.
adolescent stars.
That's the funny thing. They're the adolescent
Yeah.
stars. They're not even
Yeah.
And then they put it in perspective
Old
of
guys.
our sun can't even be seen a few light years away.
That was
Yeah.
crazy
I
when they
know.
circled the little one. I verbally said lame.
Yeah, I know.
We're so
You did say
lame.
that when we were
Well,
watching it.
because we're so lame. Our
I
sun
know.
is
our
so lame in
tiny
comparison.
little star sun. I know.
Hey, it's magnificent
I know.
in its own.
in its own glory.
in its
own-
own
It has to be,
miniature
because if it was too much, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's perfect.
I mean,
right?
I'm
It's
glad
perfect
for
just
its
the way it is.
mediocrity, but when you kind of look at it in comparison, there's a place for
I
it.
know. That's right.
There's a
That's right,
place.
son. We still love you, and you're okay
We
just
do.
the way you are. So don't
But
change.
just don't get too
Don't change.
cocky.
Yes.
That's all.
Don't change at least for another
Billion years.
Billion years or so. So.
And then it will apparently. Then
Yeah,
it will.
that was crazy.
10%.
10% higher. Just
Brighter.
imagine how that would translate into temperatures on the Earth, because I feel like that would just accentuate the temperatures even more than 10%.
Yeah, it's not
going
going
to
to just be a 10%. No.
Oh no!
I mean,
I'm
it's
just
gonna be
get a
like-
serious tan.
Yeah, it's going to totally fry. And then the fact that it's going to become this giant, 100 times its size at one point. What is it called? The giant red star.
Yeah.
Red star.
And then after all that craziness, it's going to collapse like a souffle to about the size of the Earth. And then it's going to be, a white dwarf with just dimly lit for another
100 billion years. That's a long time.
Yeah, just a
Yeah.
dimly lit thing, and then I imagine whatever would be left, if there was an Earth, would
Yeah.
then cool off to
Or
some crazy
I
thing.
like what he said. If there is another like space sphere, sparing civilization cruising through, or
Right.
just even with a telescope looking at it,
Yeah.
and they go and they're cataloging stars just like we
Right,
do.
we are,
And
yeah.
They look at it and they go, oh, look at that little white
little-
star,
Would
white
they,
dwarf
would
star.
they even? Would they even?
Or they just go right past it and not even see it. Like
I'm totally
oh,
hating on the
wait.
sun right now. I'm sorry. It's nothing
Well, I mean,
personal.
we catalog those when we see them, so I mean, I imagine
Yeah,
other,
yeah.
other
No, they'll be
civilizations will
cataloged,
too.
but what's
I
interesting?
love that you're like, they'll be cataloged by the aliens, of course.
Of course they
You
will.
know, yeah, absolutely, in their own system.
They take very good notes, the aliens.
I'm sure they do. And I mentioned earlier, I hope that when the aliens visit Earth, they find #selfie and listen to it. And
No.
But when they do, then they're not even going to take us with them. Then they're just going to destroy us because
Yeah.
like we're not even
no, we're
worth
going to be
taking.
long dead by then. It's just what I'm hoping, really what I hope for is when the aliens are studying our civilization and like teaching in schools, because no one actually cares when they reach this decade, that they'll look at that song specifically and kind of
And be like, this is what the most intelligent life form on the planet Earth was like in that decade.
Blow
Wow.
it up. Just blow it up. Kill it with fire.
Yeah. Just
Break
blow it
off.
up again, even though it's already burnt to a crisp and nobody's even alive anymore after the sun. But still, it deserves to be blown up again to bits.
Oh, the three sun planet. They said if there was a planet that
Yeah.
had three
Oh, yeah.
suns,
Yeah.
how some days could be blue and
Yeah.
some days would be
Red.
red.
Wouldn't that be
That is
amazing?
awesome.
Like I imagined like a dual sun planet like Tatooine.
Right,
I was like,
exactly.
ooh, that'd be fun.
It would
but
be.
It's a triple sun planet.
but
but,
we
like-
would barely have night or
No.
Yeah, no night.
But it would be so cool though, like the red, light and blue light. Like that'd be awesome.
That would be
I wish
sick.
the sun would do that for us every once in a while, like change colors.
So
and-
we've just
I
decided
don't know. I
in
feel
this
like
episode
something
that the
bad
sun
would
is
really
lame.
happen if that happened. I feel like something bad would happen if the sun
Right,
just changed color.
But it would be kind of fun. It'd be
Well, it
fun.
wouldn't be necessarily that the sun was changing colors. It was just that,
the light.
right?
Yeah.
The light from
The
the
light from the sun. No, I loved all that, and of course, when the sun does, of course, become 100 times its size, it was going to eat up Mercury and Venus and possibly Earth
Possibly
anyway.
the Earth,
So,
yeah. I mean, it wouldn't even matter for us because
No.
we'd fry to a crisp in a second. But
oh my God, and
poor Venus. I love Venus.
We'll have beach property on Mars.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, the other cool thing, of course, was we got to learn about some of the other stars, of course, like Sirius is the brightest star, and we talked about Rigel, the one that was near Orion, that again has so much crazy power, and it's going to shrink down 100,000 times its size until it can't shrink anymore, and then that'll be its own like supernova.
Boom. So supernova.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to turn into a pulsar.
Yeah, and then turning into a pulsar. And I mean, there's so many crazy things.
And
Yeah,
pulsars are awesome.
They are.
They just spin around because of their crazy energy, and it just shoots out of both sides. And they just spin like crazy, shooting radiation and energy just out into space while they spiral out of control. It's amazing. And have you seen those?
Crazy.
There's some systems where they have binary pulsars, and they orbit each other.
Yes, they kind of orbit each other around.
It looks like a crazy disco light because they're just shooting
They're
energy
just
in all directions.
spinning around. I know. It's like I'm really, really cool. I really do want to do the planetarium thing.
Yeah.
Because now I'm just like, I want to see all this stuff. It's just so, and like the density of the stars and everything. I mean, it's just like insane.
Oh, and that's what they called a nova, right? Was the explosion,
Yes,
Yeah.
the nuclear explosion that when the other
Meaning
planet
you.
was sucking out the power and the energy and the gas, and every time it hit the surface of it, it would make it explode, and there were 100,000 times more energy
Yeah.
than the sun. Woo!
I know, again, making our sun look lame again.
Yeah.
It's not just the sun that's looking lame, frankly. I mean, there are two parts to it. First of all, in ways, yes, it is totally lame because you realize how not. I mean, we're not very special when you look at the grand scheme.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, the other kind of cool thing is, so far we are pretty special in
Yeah.
our kind of neighborhood of the universe. We're kind of
Exactly.
the big guys in town when it comes to what separates us and
We're
our
both not
intellect.
special, and yet very
Yet
special.
very
It's
special at the same time.
interesting duality. It's fun to play with.
I liked it when he used the term psychedelic death shroud.
Yes.
Oh, I did too. That was amazing. I know, another like crazy, album name or something.
Yeah.
Psychedelic death
And also
shroud.
the event horizon too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
mean,
black
come
holes
on,
though.
black hole.
Black holes though. That's a very
Talk about a crazy movie.
Yeah.
Horizon. That movie's weird.
yeah.
Just like black holes and the event horizon itself. So I thought that, going back to like talking about the fundamentals of space was just really, really cool. And then of course, we can't forget about the Eta Carinae?
Oh.
The other star.
Etta Carina.
Yeah.
Carina,
Carina.
yeah. I love that name. That sounds like
Yeah.
a female science name to me too, like one of the names. Yeah.
It's no, the thing about it is I was kind of nervous. He kind of set it up as though, oh, this thing is going to pretty much demolish.
Well, especially when he said it was this could happen during our
this
lifetime.
is going to happen
I
during
was
our
like,
lifetime.
oh my God.
Damn it! But he's going to tell us.
He's
that,
going to tell us we're going to die from
Yeah.
the
again,
star
like,
explosion.
how many times can he tell us that we're going to
Right.
die?
I
Anyways?
really thought that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's in the Carina Nebula.
Yes, it's 7,500 light years away.
And it takes light 50 years to cross the Carina Nebula. So that obviously means that the Carina Nebula is 50 light years across.
Right. Which is crazy too.
That's
Again, the
yeah,
size.
huge. That's
I
just a
mean,
big giant cloud of gas and stars
Right.
for 50 light
50
years.
light years
across. Like that's
I mean,
nuts.
seriously. It's crazy. But the fact that, like, I guess back in 1843, it went from being a pretty typical, not very bright star to all of a sudden being the second brightest star
Right.
in the sky behind Sirius. And it was like, why did that happen?
What did they say? It's 100 times more massive than the sun? Is that what I
Yeah,
got?
100 times.
Yeah, 100 times more massive than the
like-
sun.
I hope I didn't write that down wrong.
No, that's what I had too.
Okay.
But
Yep,
that was, and the fact that it has so massive and has, hundreds of times. I had hundreds of times, so I don't know.
Oh, maybe it's hundreds.
But either way,
Either
more
way.
massive, more light than our sun, and so massive that its radiation and its gravity would be overwhelming when it blows apart. So this is where the hypernova
Yeah.
comes in.
Right.
And this would basically wipe out, planets all throughout the atmosphere, like stripping them of their atmospheres, giving them all this radiation.
Right.
I mean, it's just absolutely crazy, insane stuff that happens with a hypernova.
And what's cool is, when you think about how he says it might happen during our lifetime,
I'm so
means
rooting for that.
that it would have already happened.
It would have already happened, exactly.
And we're just waiting for
We're
the
waiting
show.
to see. I know, which is crazy
Which
to
is-
think
But
about
it would be
again.
quite a show, apparently. That's what
Yeah.
I'm really interested in, is
Right.
the fact that he kind of set it up to make it sound like, oh, we're pretty much doomed if this thing happens.
Yeah, and then he's like, no, actually, it'd be fine because it
Actually,
would reach
it'd
us.
be awesome.
And it would be amazing because if you were in the southern hemisphere, it'd be basically looking at a second moon because it would be so bright.
If that happens, I'm traveling to the southern hemisphere.
We're gonna go to
Oh, yeah, no, I'm
Australia.
going to
We're gonna go out
Australia.
there.
I'm gonna watch it.
Out to Ayers Rock,
Oh,
go
why
out to the
wouldn't
desert.
you?
I mean, that would be incredible.
How long? I wonder how long something like that lasts in the sky.
That's what I was wondering too, because he didn't go into that. So it's another thing I'd love to learn. And if anybody out there knows and wants to
Tell
be able to
us,
comment, let us know, please, because we'd love to know. But yes, so basically, it would have happened 7,500 years ago.
If it happens tomorrow.
If it happened tomorrow. Yeah, that's the thing. But I mean, isn't that again? It's like so weird to like think about. Like, oh wait, this already happened in the past, like thousands upon thousands of years ago.
Yeah,
and it's
Its
just
own
now
form
making
of
to
time
us.
travel. It's
yeah.
really
Was it
difficult to grasp.
5,000 BC.
Yeah.
What happened then?
Yeah.
That place was exploding.
I know. It's crazy. So, any more thoughts before we move into news? Any other things you want to talk about this episode?
I like that they wrapped it up. Okay, because when we talked about, now I forgot it. The maidens, the seven maidens. What were they
Right.
called?
Peletes.
Peletes.
Yeah,
Peletes.
I know. Am I
think.
saying that right?
Pleiades. It's
Pleiades.
Pleiades.
Yeah, I was like, wait, I don't
Pleiades,
think we're saying it right.
No,
yeah.
we're not.
Pleiades.
I had it.
There we go.
Pleiades. So they talked about the 7 stars
Seven
were
maidens, right.
Yeah.
the 7 maidens. Oh, and they did the eyesight test. That's pretty cool,
Yeah.
right? If you could see
Oh,
6, you were a normal person. If you could 7 or more,
You're a normal person.
You're like,
I want to know
"Oh."
if I would be a warrior. They said
know.
like you'd be a great ideal warrior
Well,
if
then
you
go
could see all 7.
outside and see if you can see
I'm
7 or
going to.
more.
Well, you're
Except
not
not
going to be
here.
able to
Not here.
Not in Los Angeles. The light pollution. That's the problem.
Drive
Different
away.
kinds of tests.
Yeah, we'd fail, all of us.
So the Native Americans had a story of maidens who went out and dancing, and then some bears came after them, and they made the rock grow, and that's what they called Devil's Tower over there. And then the Greeks had their thing where Orion was like chasing them down because he was like,
You wanted him so
You
bad.
wanted-
yeah, he was a horn dog, and he was chasing them down, and Zeus stepped in and put him up there. And then, like they said, when Orion died, he put him up in the stars so he could
can chase
continue
him in the
chasing.
stars. Come
I was
on,
like, man,
stars.
that's messed up, Zeus.
I know, right?
This is messed up.
For eternity.
But they said in 10 or 20 million years from now, some of the major stars in Orion constellation will go supernova. And so he'll never catch the maidens.
Yes.
And then they will move on into
They'll
the
move
Milky
on.
Way.
Yeah, which is really cool. And the other cool thought too is like if you could see in all the different, in X-ray and other
yeah.
types of lights, the way you'd be able to see the Milky Way. I mean, it would just be incredible.
Oh, I liked it when they talked about how if we could put them all down to like 1 minute, and all you saw was
when
the
they
twinkling
showed-
of all
with
the
all the
stars
lights.
It was
blowing
so
up.
cool.
Yeah.
And then through eye telescopes, if our eyes could be
Yeah, it
telescopes,
could be like
exactly
telescopes,
what
like
it
the
would look
size
like.
of wagon wheels. That was hilarious. I was like, where did
It
that
was
come from?
very
Did you guys
descriptive.
picture like people with giant
Yes,
eyes?
I
Wagon
did.
wheels
Like-
for eyes.
Yeah,
Those
that was
old
really cool.
school
Like a
ones.
cyclops.
Yeah, just big old wagon wheel eyes. But yeah, kind of. I know it sounds silly, but it kind of reminds me of like that, and like when Transformers blow up, and you see all the
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
blue weird lights, and when there's a storm and stuff. So I absolutely think that's the coolest thing, to watch it explode and go on from there.
Yeah, it's great.
So
I got some news. You got some news?
I got some news.
I know you have news.
I know.
All right, let's hear it.
All right, I'll let you go first.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Oh,
I can
yeah.
cue it up here.
Okay.
You go first.
So I read about the brown. Was it a brown dwarf star? They just discovered a brown dwarf star like 7.5 light years away.
Yeah.
Oh,
Really close.
well,
Yeah.
awesome.
Cold as ice.
Yeah.
So it's a star as cold as ice. How weird is that?
Crazy.
That's
It's like dry ice, I guess. Huh? Just
Right.
really cold.
it's a really cold
Well,
star.
because isn't
That's
it like
really cool.
sort of like what we were talking about with the blue? When it gets colder, anyways, it's dimmer.
Yeah.
So
But I didn't know they could get that cold.
I didn't know
They
it
made
could get that
seem
cold
like
either, I
It
know.
was still like would be really hot, but I didn't read all into it.
I didn't
just-
read it either, the whole thing. I just kind of saw it when I was scrolling through, and I was
I
like, oh,
looked
that's
that up.
interesting. I'll have to go back to that.
Yeah.
So they didn't say exactly, or you didn't get a chance
It
to read of
wasn't-
why it's cold or what makes it.
No, I have to look more into it. I was busy. I just was trying to get some information today and see some ideas of what's going on in the world, and that's one of the things I saw.
Yeah.
But hey, if you know more about it,
Yes.
feel free to
Sounds
tell us.
Again,
post
let us
it.
know in the comments.
Tell
We would
everyone
love
about
to hear
it.
you. I'd love to hear from you guys. Well, I love this article. This is about the have you guys Sophia? Okay, we're not talking about Sofia Vergara or anything. We're talking about Sophia.
Not that star.
Well, yeah, not that star exactly,
Star.
but it's actually kind of crazy because it fits so well with tonight's episode. It's basically this. It is big and beautiful and voluptuous. It's a modified 747, and basically they fly all over to get better observations of the Milky Way and the supermassive black hole. They're 25 to 28,000 light years away. Isn't that massive one that we talked about in the previous episode? when he was talking about
I
the
think
whole black hole.
that's the one that's like closest.
Yeah.
Maybe to us.
And so
It's not a supermassive black hole, is it? Isn't it just a regular?
Just a normal.
Because the supermassive black hole is in the center of our
It's
galaxy.
only a massive black hole.
Right.
It's just
not
a massive
supermassive
black hole.
right.
Tone it down a little bit.
No, just a super. But basically, they go on like an 11-hour flight. They start in the morning and they go up to the northern parts of North America and Canada, and they get all these great pictures. It's like a telescope. It's pretty awesome.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
wow.
yeah, so it's called Sophia, and I guess some teachers just went on it last week, and they went up to like Bismarck, North Dakota, and they come all the way back to Palmdale, and it has this huge telescope, and it basically takes all these really cool
Oh, that's
pictures of the
awesome.
Milky Way. And
How do we get
everything.
on it?
I know,
I
that's
was about to
right.
say,
Well, you
how
got to
much
figure
does
out how
that
we can get on.
cost? Hold on.
I guess they apparently said they're going to possibly start selling nights to be able to go on the Sophia.
Yeah, but it's going to be
But it's going to be $1 million.
Yeah.
expensive.
Is it really?
Yeah.
$1 million?
Yeah, I'm sure AfterBuzz can just write a check for that. you
Yeah,
know?
just put us all
Right,
in
you
there.
know.
Exactly, no big deal.
For
So,
research.
but speaking of $1 million, if we're going to be spending $1 million, wouldn't it be great to just go ahead and use the American Express card?
Oh,
You know, you don't have to
probably
worry
so.
about it.
My name is Yvonne Saravia, and I am a home health aide. My credit score was very high. It was like 700 something. Then I had like a hiccup in my finances. Everything just crashed. But I don't crawl under a rock and cry. It takes baby steps to get back. So that's what I am doing.
With American Express Serve, you have a full-service prepaid account that helps you handle your money simply and affordably. There's no credit check. You can pay your bills online and reload cash for free at over 15,000 locations, all for $1 a month, and all backed by the 24/7 service of American Express. This is what membership is. This is what membership does.
Get started with an American Express Serve card at CVS Pharmacy or Family Dollar today. Terms and restrictions apply. Go to serve.com for more details.
Don't leave
I
the
like that.
I know. It's so sweet. Don't leave the galaxy without your American Express card.
Ooh, intergalactic American Express. That'd be great.
Wouldn't that be
One way to
great?
sell it.
Right.
I'm not sure exactly what you would be purchasing, but
Hey, the
Stars.
intergalactic Amex card. That'd be great.
Look, there's enough.
Fly you
there's
out to
enough
space. You
stars
can
and
fly them.
planets and galaxies
Right.
out there
well,
for
I mean,
every
you can
person on
purchase
Earth.
stars. That
You
is something
can.
that you can do.
That's
so.
right. Remember
I don't
that
think it's real, though.
No, but remember that was the big thing for a while. Like people would do it for people's birthdays and
I
like
got one.
events.
I got one. I did for
And where is this at?
I can't tell
Give
you.
us the coordinates.
I can't tell you, but I thought it was so clever because I was very young and I named it Ringo. And I promise you that there's so many Ringos out there. I'm not the only one, but I did buy a star. I thought it was so cool and so clever. I'm sure I am. That is
Yeah.
like the most overnamed.
I know.
star.
No, I was gonna say it's probably like there's a couple
There's
Ringos.
a few Patricks. There's
Yeah.
a few Ringos.
There's another service that was letting people name craters on Mars.
Really?
And you could like name them, pay money or whatever. And then like a few months or maybe a month or two after it was out, the like union that decides whether or not stuff like that,
Yeah.
if they'll use
Is
the
okay,
names,
yeah.
they were like no. So like all these people bought into it, and
Seriously.
then they came out and they were like, no,
Come on.
we're not using that.
I mean, it's ridiculous too, because it's kind of
Yeah.
like really, like you can never even know that it's all a huge scam. Like, come on,
Well,
come
of
on,
course it's a huge
come
scam.
on.
I mean, at least with the star thing, it's
Yeah.
it's theoretical, obviously.
It's
You
theoretical,
can't-
and there's like hundreds of billions of stars again when it like just throws your mind for a loop that there's that many stars out there. So yes, we should all have stars named after us.
we should all have
we're
stars.
stars.
Because
Because we're all stars. We're
little
all special. You're special too out there, everyone.
Because we're all stardust.
That's right.
That was very cool. I mean, bringing it back to that.
They always
the,
bring it back to that,
They
and
do.
that's the best part.
That was from the very first episode. So any final thoughts and
I have a final thought
Go.
that I feel like we should mention. Somebody's birthday tomorrow.
It is somebody's birthday
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow.
Do you guys know whose birthday it is tomorrow? I do believe
Yeah.
it's that man
Yeah.
right
I
over
knew
there.
it is.
the one who yes, I am going to be aging ungracefully. I already
Very
started.
very
gracefully,
gracefully.
sir. Very
Happy
gracefully.
birthday.
So, yes,
Happy,
thank you.
happy,
Happy
happy
birthday.
birthday.
Thank you. So yeah, just speaking, I'm aging like a star in the sky right now as we speak.
And one day you'll go
Exactly.
hypernova.
That's
One
right.
day
Oh, I
we'll go
will.
hypernova.
Oh, I will. Sweet. You don't want to be around when that happens. Just telling you that right now. Yeah, I just again I thought it was a great episode. We could try to tease next week's, but
Yeah, I mean, what we're
we're
going back to Earth.
we're going back to Earth. We're
Yep.
going to be talking about the old civilizations and
Going underwater.
yes, which
That'll
I'm
be really cool.
very excited about that too.
Oh
I'm
yeah, you love that.
fascinated about oceanography and everything. It's because we were talking about this last week. Is like
Yeah.
it's our own areas that are completely unexplored and undiscoverable
You
and
have
are
a,
miles deep.
An oceanography friend, or
Yes,
someone?
yes. So I'm going to try to see if I can
Get him in.
can get the scientists to come in next week.
Because we know
From
that it's going to
JPL.
go under ocean, so.
Yeah.
No, and it's going to be awesome because, like we said earlier, or like we said last week, we're going crazy and we know so much about what's out in space and we know so much about our universe that's so far beyond our planet, and yet we still haven't figured out all of our own.
Right.
So
And
that's going to be cool to see
all
what
the
we don't
species
know.
and all the things that are in the ocean that we have
it's
no idea.
fascinating.
And like he even brought up, which will be fun too, like just 3,000 feet below the surface, it's pitch black down there.
Oof.
Oh, that's
Crazy.
creepy.
So yeah, I can't wait. So
Like
yeah,
you hear about all those crazy things like giant squid. Where they have like.
I hope they're a giant squid.
No, they are.
There are.
Well, there are, but I mean, like,
Just tons
you're
of
like,
them.
you know, like hypernova's giant squid.
Like colonies.
yeah, I'm talking about
colonies
like
of,
Nessie type ordeals, like
yeah.
the crazy.
Gigantic squid that are all like
that would blow our
intelligent
minds.
and like have little civilizations down there. Weird
that
stuff
bad.
going down.
All right, I'm like, yeah, we're really going off the rails now. But yeah, great episode. Now, where can we find you all until next week?
All right, I'm Autumn Chiklis, so you can find me at Autumn Chiklis on Twitter.
I'm Dillon Chance. You can find me on Twitter at Dillon Chance, or you can check out the Facebook page that I run with my partner Courtney Bree. It's facebook.com/A Cosmic Perspective.
There you go. You can really get all your science stuff during the week while you're waiting
all
for
science,
Cosmos.
space stuff. I try to post everything I see all week long to keep
right.
people going.
All science all the time. Everyone should definitely check that out.
Yes.
You can find me on the old Twitter at SMan80. That's SMAN80. Until next time, have a great week, everyone.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz
See you later.
Happy birthday, Scott!
Thank you.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.